Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I understand you raced this past weekend.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was your third victory there?
Yes.
Okay, so going into it, you've won it twice before. Does that influence how you go into it, or how do you feel going into something like that?
I just went into it hoping to put together a solid swim bike run, and I thought that could probably place me at the top.
Okay, so you're not thinking throughout the race about winning per se, or are you focused on?
No, especially like before the race, it would be a nice part to win, but before any race, I want my fitness to come through. The stuff that I've seen in training, I want it to come through on race day.
Okay.
That's mostly what I'm focused on.
So what are a couple of these bike changes you've talked about?
So I, near the beginning of the year, I put on a bigger front chainring because I found I was in my first two races, I was in my not favorable combination of small rings in the back and big ring in the front to get the power that I want, because I have a little bit of a lower cadence. So I increased my front chain rings. I went from 165 to 160 millimeter cranks, and I changed my saddle. I have really wide sits bones, and I found that I was moving around a lot on my previous saddle. So using the bi-saddle, I'm now able to just be a lot more anchored on the seat, and I feel like I can push more power.
Okay, so different seat, bigger chain ring, shorter crank lengths, and you've got a fast bike now.
Yes.
Okay, so back to race day, how did the swim unfold?
Yeah, so this swim is unique in that you can follow a buoy line, and I knew I had to be close to that buoy line so I wouldn't have to sight.
Yeah.
And I knew I would have some really fast takeout speed, and maybe I'd be able to swim with the lead group, which I knew would be Jesse, Taylor Reed, and probably some other men. And the only thing going through my head at the beginning of the swim was stay with the feet. Doesn't matter how hard you're going, just go, go, go. And eventually I found myself settling into a rhythm, and there was some good feet to follow, and I knew I was having a strong swim because we were all together and I didn't see any lone swimmer up ahead. And then I think at one point, maybe around 1,200 meters, I lost the group, and I had to have a serious mental chat with myself to put in a big surge so that I could catch them again. So I sort of slowed down, caught some energy, and then I just sprinted as hard as I could for 30 seconds.
Wow.
And then I ended up catching the feet, and I never lost them. And I had a best ever swim on that course by about 50 seconds.
Wow. So
it was the third fastest swim of the day.
So you come out of the water,
Fourth.
and are you just exhausted, or are you excited?
No,
to get
because
on the
I had
bike,
had
or?
a good draft for, other than that, the start of the race and the 30-second surge. I was really just chilling the whole way.
Okay. So you get on this bike, you got the new mechanics working for you. How did the bike unfold?
So the bike was actually just really lonely. Everyone who I came out of the water with was just so much faster than me, and then anyone who did pass me, if I tried to stay, with them a little bit, like in the legally riding with them, I just had to put in, like, I was riding at threshold, and I knew that wouldn't be sustainable for the whole 90K. So it was a really lonely bike ride, just kind of me working on my own, as opposed to past years. I've always had a few people around me to kind of push me, and last year I rode with Angela Quick. But yeah, so the bike ride was really lonely, and there was a lot of like self-talk to get myself to focus on my power, focus on staying aero, just focus on my nutrition, which I didn't do a great job of nutrition. I realized sort of at 55K that I had only had 2 gels.
Oh boy.
And my hydration was good, but I was low on carbs. But yeah, so bike was boring.
So what kind of power, average or normalized power do you?
So I was around 195 watts till about maybe 50-ish K. And then that dropped towards the end. I was getting really hot, and I didn't feel like I had as much power in my legs. So by the end of it, and also I didn't feel very well near the front of the bike. So it was probably closer to 185, and then about 190 watts for the whole.
So 190 watts for the whole, and what's your threshold about?
215 probably.
215, so like 10% or so below threshold. And what's your average cadence?
It was 85.
85. Okay.
Yeah.
So you come off the bike. Are you aware of the heat at this point?
Yeah, I could feel the heat on the bike.
You could. So what's your mentality going into the run at this point?
So I knew it was going to be hot, so I had a frozen water bottle. Well, it was frozen in the morning, waiting for me in transition.
Nice.
So I just used that to pre-cool myself. And then I just drank as much of that water that I could. Unfortunately, there's still half ice in there.
Oh, okay.
And then I ditched that at the aid station, and then really the run, I used pace in my watch for the first 3K to hold myself back.
Okay.
So I was running, naturally I wanted to run around 4 minutes per kilometer, but I was holding myself back to 4:10 because I knew that 4:10 to 4:20 was going to be where my half marathon was. And those first 3K were the only time I looked at my watch.
Okay.
Otherwise it was just running by feel.
Okay.
The aid stations, as much water as I could. They had sponges, which were a lifesaver. Ice down the back of my suit, I iced down the front of my suit, I unzipped my suit just to get as much cooling as possible. And then I just focused on chipping away at the guys ahead of me.
Okay.
So I think I came off the bike maybe in 15th, and then I gradually picked off guys until I was top 10.
Right.
But it was definitely a struggle, but I feel like all the fitness I had, sort of survival mode, was still decently fast.
Right.
So
Takeaway feelings from Barrelman.
yeah, I feel like racing in the heat was a great fitness boost. Because I had to push when it was hot, and that just, I've historically done really well when I've raced 2 weeks apart, so long as I rest really well for the week after the first race. Then I do a bit of a volume block the weekend between the two races, and then cut all the volume leading into the second race. And usually, and that's just mostly for the bike and the swim. For the run, I'm probably going to run 4 times in between the two races because I know that my legs need that long in between. So overall feeling is that I'm proud of the race that I put together, given the really hot circumstances. I'm happy for the win, and I'm excited that that race will give me a fitness boost for the next race.
Very good. Okay, well, congratulations again, and good luck in Georgia.
Thank you.